Hello, my name is Patrick Keilty, and I'm an assistant professor in the Faculty of Information at the University of Toronto. A class that I'm teaching this semester, Feminist and Queer Approaches to Technology, is a traveling seminar that visits various feminist and queer technoscience sites throughout the city. Already this semester, my students and I have discussed a number of issues facing trans people on topics as varied as digital archives, new media art, and video games. For our class on digital archives, we visited the Canadian Lesbian and Gay Archive here in Toronto and read 3 articles about trans issues, including an article from Elspeth Brown published in the Transgender Studies Quarterly, in which she maps oral history projects that bring together feminist methodologies, transgender studies, and queer archives. Elspeth discusses the LGBTQ Oral History Digital Collaboratory, the Transgender Archives at the University of Victoria, the Digital Transgender Archive, the New York City Trans Oral History Project, and the Transgender Oral History Project at the University of Minnesota Libraries. Another article by T.L. Cohen and Jasmine Rowe discusses the politics of labor in creating an integrated, user-generated, open-source platform, digital archive, and encyclopedia for trans, feminist, and queer grassroots performance artists, audiences, activists, and organizers called the Cabaret Commons. In their article, J.K. Rawson discusses specific access barriers for both transgender patrons and transgender materials within archives. In each of these articles, students learn both the role of archives in preserving the hidden history of trans people, but also the ways trans community members are leveraging digital technologies and disseminating trans stories in ways that might otherwise have been lost in the ebb and flow of a paper history. In our class on new media art, we discussed Misha Cardenas's Becoming Dragon, a mixed reality performance that questions the 1-year requirement of real-life experience that transgender people must fulfill in order to receive gender confirmation surgery. Misha's work examines concepts of becoming and mixing across lines of virtual worlds and biotechnology, finding their intersections and combinations in transreal, trans-species body hacking, and prototyping. In our class on video games, we discussed the do-it-yourself video games designed by trans activist, artist, and video game designer Anna Anthropy, and we specifically look at her games Dysphoria and Queers in Love at the End of the World, which reflect her personal experience as a trans person and show how open-source platforms such as Twine allow designers to create alternative games outside the dominant modes of production and consumption that dominate the mainstream video game industry. The primary objective of this seminar is to examine what technologies mean for feminist and queer identity, activism, sociability, art, sex, and politics. It's impossible to separate trans issues from our understanding of technology. Not only do trans people make important contributions to cultures of technology, but learning about trans issues also helps us better understand the role of technology in our society and how it shapes our relationship to the world and others. Thank you.